Hey folks, so I'm just jumping on to follow up from yesterday's Epiphany video, and I wanted to report something into you which I have noticed increasingly and really landed with me when I put that video out yesterday and I got the response back. And this video may seem to be a bit futile, but I feel it's a really important message and one that I wanted to share, even though it may only get to a very tiny number of you. Now, the interesting thing is that I created the Epiphany video in response to what I thought was a new Bracha Goldsmith video which she'd put out, because I'd followed Bracha a lot, especially when she was doing a lot of work with Pam Gregory. And I didn't realise why she'd kind of gone silent. And so it was wonderful to actually see this video. And even though it looked like it had been AI edited, it did look like original content to me. However, it kind of opened a whole can of worms, stirred up a whole hornet's nest, because when I investigated deeper, it became apparent that actually it was a complete AI fake, and there was a massive amount of outrage if you look at the comments on that Bracha Goldsmith AI video, which was not put through her official channel. It was a kind of new fake channel. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I've noticed a similar thing happening to other metaphysical teachers and thought leaders, people like Neville Goddard. Obviously, he's dead now, but there's a massive amount of AI fakes of Neville Goddard. I've also noticed it happening with a lot of the Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks content. Now, it used to be that I watched those videos and they typically were like 14-minute cartoons. And they were actually quite entertaining and really quite sweet animations. But I was kind of skipping over the ads, and then suddenly, out of the blue, I started to be delivered up by YouTube these 1 hour, 14-minute long composite videos, which were a whole series of the Abraham Hicks teachings without any adverts at all. And when I looked closely at that, again, it seemed like it was an AI manufactured composition which had been tailored exactly to match my viewing tastes. Now, the other thing that happened yesterday is that I put out a message stating that I felt that my emails and my videos were being shadow banned and suppressed, not just by the YouTube platform, but also by the email delivery platforms. Now, I'd already had problems getting Gmails across to people, but I started to notice that videos that I put out, even though I put them out to my YouTube following and to my Telegram following and to my whole database, so we're talking about tens of thousands of people across those platforms and those databases, they were only getting like 100 or so views. So clearly something was going wrong. And then yesterday I was sent a message that someone had captured on a screenshot of a warning: danger, dangerous content, do not read this, do not watch the video, do not click the link type videos, do not reply to the email. And I'm going to put it on screen, but it was actually, I've never seen anything like this happening before, but it confirmed my suspicions that censorship and big tech suppression of people who they don't want the message to be heard is going now to the next level. And my feeling is that it's being powered by AI. Now, the interesting thing, going back to the Bracha Goldsmith video, when I researched, because I thought, well, maybe she's dead or something. And actually what happened with Bracha is that apparently she had an eye operation and she took the decision to step away from all online work and she only does offline work. So even though she's decided to remove herself from the system, from the big tech platforms, still the AI, and I do believe that this isn't an individual doing it, I believe that this is the actual platforms themselves that are now using AI to fake content based on old content of people who had big followings just to keep the content going. And if you think about it, it's a pretty clever digital strategy, especially for YouTube, who have suppressed so much content and have removed so much content. And a lot of the people who are creating content have now fled to other platforms because of the censorship levels. So how are they going to keep filling the platform with more and more content? Well, the interesting thing, it seems to me, is that they are taking old content or composite content and manufacturing it and feeding it to the fans of those people who they've actually alienated. Now, this is a really worrying development if you think about where this is going to go, because at the moment it's pretty easy to spot something that's AI. It's a little bit jumpy, it's a little bit robotic, and you can kind of tell. And I could tell that the Bracker Goldsmith video had been edited using some kind of AI software. I didn't actually realize it had been completely created with AI, and that was the actual frightening thing. And if you imagine when this gets to the level of perfection where it's obviously going to be improved and improved and improved, how are we going to be able to tell the difference between what is real and what is fake? And if someone like me decides, for example, to exit a platform and I'm going to do my own thing, then the AI can just step in and recreate my videos. I mean, in fact, how do you even know that this is the real me talking to you now and not some manufactured AI fake? So this is a really interesting development. And of course, as technology develops and AI gets better and then it moves into robotics, we are opening to a whole really scary era, actually. And I don't want to be like a sort of doom and gloom merchant, but it seems to me that things are now moving to the next level, and there's a lot of pushback on things like digital ID and social credit scoring, but it's already here, folks, especially if you're someone that the system wants to suppress and wants to censor. All they have to do is just stop your communications getting to anyone. And so someone like me, who's built a tribe over many decades now, actually, of tens of thousands of people, I can't effectively communicate using a digital platform. And it's like, wow, that is pretty hardcore when you think that you, for example, own a database and you built it up, but you can't effectively communicate because a lot of the platforms, the big tech platforms like Google, like Microsoft, who control the delivery of things like emails, simply stop your messages getting out there. And if you're shadow banned as well on all of the platforms, it doesn't matter if you've got 16,000 followers on YouTube, if the system will not send those messages out to people. So it's a really interesting development, and I wanted to just jump on and talk a bit about it. So I was kind of sitting meditating today on this, and as always with these kind of 3D dilemmas, I tend to just step back, come back into alignment, and go to that higher place of connection with Source and contemplate it from a kind of eagle's eye view. And I was reminded of a teaching which I was shown very clearly in a shamanic journey, a deep shamanic journey, which I did a few months ago. And I was shown that the false matrix, the labyrinth of illusion, which is being held in place by these systems, by fear, by technology, by the dark forces, if you want to call them that, this kind of luciferic, archontic energy that is controlling everything, that what it is in fact a spiritual test. It's like the game has gone to the next level of complexity, and you can either play the game and fight the game and be in the labyrinth doing the battle, or you can come back to that center point, make that vertical connection to Source, come back to the realization that we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and the only purpose of our existence is like a training program on how to stay connected to Source, how to stay in that connection to the channel of pure Source energy, which is love and light and harmonic resonance. So I've decided to take that view, to step back and to contemplate what the future holds for someone like me who has become reliant on digital marketing because I've kind of been sucked into it, but realizing that actually when I first started out, that was not just before the internet, it was even before mobile phones. And that whole business, my first business, Red Letter Days, was completely built through offline marketing strategies of word of mouth. And it was basically a mail order company originally. And I'm also reminded, of course, of the greatest story of offline marketing, as you might call it, that there ever was, which was really the teachings of Jesus, where he was just going from place to place and preaching and teaching and doing sermons and doing healings, and word spread without the aid of any digital technology. So we know it's possible, folks, but my senses, my deep feeling as we open into this AI controlled era, we're going to have to get smart. We're going to have to start changing our strategy, especially for someone like me whose voice and opinions and teachings are being suppressed by a system that simply does not want my messages to be heard. And there are many others like me who are finding themselves in that position. So we're entering interesting times. And actually, if any content is dangerous and should be suppressed, it is the AI fakes that are becoming more and more realistic, more and more difficult to spot. How do you know what is truth, what is real, and what is fake? Interesting times, people. I wanted to share this. Who knows who'll get to see it, but I'm going to do my best to get it out there. And I welcome your comments and your own experiences on if this is happening or has happened to you. So sending you lots of love. Have a great day. Bye for now.